Hi, this is Heal Your Mind. Today, we're going to talk about a powerful mental skill called cognitive reframing, or what I like to call the thinking technique that dramatically reduces anxiety. You've probably heard people say, "Don't worry, it hasn't even happened yet." But for someone who's really anxious, that kind of comment isn't helpful. Because anxiety doesn't just come from imagination. It comes from things that could actually happen. It's the fear of possibility that makes anxiety feel so real. Take this situation, for example. I've made a few mistakes at work lately, and I can tell my boss is starting to lose trust in me. If I mess up again, I might really get fired. That's not just imaginary. That's a very real fear, and it hits hard. When you're feeling that way, the goal isn't to shut down the anxiety. The key is to reframe how you interpret the situation. That's what we call cognitive restructuring or reframing. So what exactly is cognitive reframing? It's the process of looking at your thoughts from a new perspective. One that's more grounded, more flexible, and more helpful. This concept is at the heart of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. A psychological method developed by experts like Albert Ellis and Aaron Beck. The core idea of CBT is this: it's not the event itself that creates your emotional response, it's how you interpret that event. Here's a quick example. Let's say your boss ignores your opinion during a meeting. One thought could be, they think I'm useless. Maybe I really am incompetent. But another thought could be, my boss might be stressed today. They didn't like my idea, but that doesn't mean they think I'm worthless. Same event, completely different emotional outcome. One interpretation leads to shame and fear, the other to calm and clarity. So, when you're in a situation that triggers anxiety, how do you start reframing your thoughts? Step 1. Recognize your automatic thoughts. When we're anxious, our brains jump to worst-case scenarios, without us even realizing. These automatic thoughts pop up fast, and we tend to believe them. For example, I've been messing up at work. What if I get fired? What if this health issue turns out to be something serious? I made a mistake in the contract. What if the company takes a big hit? And I'm blamed for it? These thoughts feel real, and we believe them not because they're true, but because they're familiar and emotionally loaded. Step 2. Check for evidence and evaluate your coping ability. Ask yourself, is there solid proof this thought is 100% true? How likely is it to actually happen? And even if it does happen, do I really have no way to deal with it? Take the firing fear. Yes, I've made mistakes, but I've also had solid results before. Other colleagues have made similar mistakes and weren't fired. And if I were to be laid off, could I really do nothing about it? No, I could update my resume, reach out to contacts, and prepare for new opportunities. This isn't toxic positivity. It's a realistic, layered view of the situation. Step 3. Reframe your thoughts with flexible reasoning. Now it's time to say, even if my fear has some basis, it's not the full story. For example, yes, I messed up. That doesn't make me a failure. In fact, this anxiety shows I care about doing better. If I learn from this, I could become even stronger at what I do. Anxiety is not a problem to erase. It's more like an internal alarm trying to protect you. But it's up to you to decide, will that alarm take over your life? Or will you learn to work with it? Here's the deeper truth: even if the situation doesn't change, the way you interpret it can. Cognitive reframing doesn't mean telling yourself everything will be fine. It means building the inner strength to say, even if things don't go as planned, I can still find a way forward. Neuroscience backs this up too. Studies using brain scans show that people who practice reframing actually develop stronger, more balanced connections between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, the part of the brain that processes fear. In other words, when your thinking changes, your brain changes. And when your brain changes, so does your emotional reaction. Let's wrap up. Anxiety visits everyone. But it doesn't have to run your life. By training your thoughts, bit by bit, you can reduce anxiety's power. And sometimes, that same anxiety becomes the very thing that fuels your growth. So next time anxiety hits, try asking yourself one simple question. What story am I telling myself right now? That one question can start to change everything. In the next video, we'll explore practical ways to make cognitive reframing a habit, not just a one-time effort. Thanks for spending this time with Heal Your Mind. You're never alone.